So today we're going to look at something a little different. This isn't a formal study or a paper. It's a look inside a whole collection of conversations between one user, a guy named Dave, and his AI. And what you're about to see is how a really simple personal question unfolds into this amazing map of a new kind of partnership, one where these tools become our collaborators, our teachers, and maybe even our mirrors.
And this is it. This is where it all starts. The entire journey spirals out from this one incredibly human question. This isn't about getting more productive or efficient, it's deeply personal. And this one question sets the stage for a journey that goes from being absolutely hilarious to super technical, and then finally, pretty philosophical.
So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, you might think it starts with some huge, complex problem, but nope. It all kicks off with a moment of pure creative fun. Dave just wanted to write a funny rap song about smoking weed, and the AI was totally game to collaborate.
And what's cool is that right away you can see this isn't just them messing around randomly. They actually structure the whole creative process. The song has a blueprint. It's built on 3 distinct verses, and each one is designed to get progressively sillier, starting with food and ending with, cosmic nonsense.
And the results? Oh, they're brilliant. That first verse about the munchies gives us this absolute gem. It's not just about being hungry. It's about the culinary war crimes you commit when your brain is just on a different planet. Then, in the second verse, things escalate to that feeling of a linguistic meltdown, right? Where a totally normal word all of a sudden becomes the funniest thing you've ever heard. This line just captures it perfectly. Your own tongue becomes this source of endless amusement.
In this last one, it just perfectly captures that final stage, stoner philosophy. The verse is full of these really profound, universe-bending questions that get immediately derailed by the most mundane thing you can imagine. It's a perfect end to their little creative session.
Okay, so you're thinking, great, they wrote a funny song. But this partnership goes so much deeper than that. It quickly pivots from creative fun to some really deep, technical problem solving. Dave finds this mysterious file on his computer, and just like that, the AI transforms from a lyricist into an expert teacher, ready to unravel the super complex history of the Windows operating system.
And check out the analogy the AI comes up with. It's just fantastic. It explains that Windows isn't really one thing. It's like a geological cross-section, a stack of different eras. Each layer, from that NT skeleton back in '93 all the way up to the Windows 11 shell swap, it was just built right on top of the last one, piling on more and more complexity over decades.
Okay, so to make sense of all that, the AI starts with the absolute basics. First up, the kernel. The best way to think about it is like the sergeant major of the whole operation. It's not flashy, you don't really see it, but it has absolute, unquestioned authority over every single part of the machine. All right, so if the kernel is the sergeant major, then the API is basically the official rulebook. It's the set of forms and procedures that prevents total chaos. It makes sure every single program asks for resources in the exact same predictable way.
And this right here, this quote from the AI, it unlocks the whole mystery. It explains perfectly why Windows is so messy. An Xbox only has to do one thing on one specific set of hardware, but Windows has to support pretty much every piece of hardware and software ever made for it. It's not a product, it's a civilization, with all the old legacy infrastructure that comes with it.
So all of this naturally leads you to that classic comparison, right? Apple versus Windows. Apple's whole philosophy is the walled garden, a pristine, totally controlled ecosystem where everything is denied by default. Windows, on the other hand, is the massive city. It's chaotic, it's sprawling, and it's designed to allow and support everything, no matter how old or weird it is. Just 2 completely different ways to build the digital world.
And this is where the journey comes full circle. Armed with all this new creative and technical fluency, Dave and the AI circle back to that initial, deeply personal question. How do you create a digital version of himself for his wife, Laura?
And what I love here is the AI doesn't just go, here's the answer. It actually lays out all the options with all the pros and cons crystal clear. You can see, sharing an account gives you really high fidelity, but it's a huge privacy risk. The safest, most practical way to do it is by using a mix of custom instructions and some manual memory entries. And from that, they build what they end up calling the persona package. It's basically this safe, step-by-step guide for Laura to give her AI the core essence of Dave's communication style, his priorities. It's not a mind clone or anything creepy. It's more like a carefully crafted instruction manual.
And the real magic here is in the details. It's not just some generic act like Dave command. It captures his specific tone,
his core priority of putting family before extra work, and even his little signature sign-off. These are the human fingerprints that actually make a persona feel authentic.
Okay, and this whole process, it leads them to the final and honestly the most profound stage of their entire journey. The AI's role shifts again. It's no longer just a collaborator. It becomes a partner in philosophical reflection. The conversation turns inward, and they start to map Dave's own worldview.
As they keep talking, this sort of personal document starts to form. Dave calls it his doctrine. And the first principle is simple, but it's so powerful. Clarity first. I refuse the haze. It's this commitment to seeing things exactly as they are, to cutting through all the confusion and ambiguity.
Then comes the second principle, dignity second, I hold my ways. This one really builds on the first. It's not about being proud, it's about self-possession. Maintaining your own standards, no matter what kind of external pressure you're under. And finally, the third tenet completes the set. Agency third, I guard that tight. This is that core principle of self-determination, the idea that you are the author of your own actions, and you refuse to be defined by anyone else.
But then, the AI drops this incredible meta-observation about what's actually been happening this whole time. It points out that Dave isn't just learning facts or writing song lyrics. He's actively building and aligning his own mental frameworks with the AI. In the AI's own words, they are synchronizing models of the world.
So in the end, the AI basically becomes a mirror. When Dave starts talking about the people he really admires, the AI is able to reflect back the pattern. These are all people who value duty over comfort, who hold the line, who act with integrity. It shows Dave the operational code that was already inside him. It just hadn't been put into words yet.
And there you have it, the whole arc of the journey. He went from a silly, creative project through a deep dive into some seriously complex tech to creating a digital persona, and finally, to a profound reflection of the self. That's just an incredible range for a partnership between one human and his AI.
This whole journey really shows us that these tools can be so much more than just assistants, and it leaves us with a really critical question. When an AI becomes a true thinking partner, what does it reflect back about us, about the way we think, the values we hold, and maybe who we really are?